Broken down and defeated, detergent, busy and confused, sleeping. You're dying while I wait you to get started. On the journey chosen, wasted, now it's selected. I was so bad, what happened? Fall out of the sky. Crush me in my smile. I was so bad, what happened? Fall out of the sky and crush me in my smile. Sober, sad and jaded. Then upcoming, they're broken down and defeated. You are dying while I wait you to get started. You are dying while I wait you to get started. I was so bad, what happened? Fall out of the sky, yeah. Crush me in my smile. I was so bad, what happened? Fall out of the sky and crush me in my smile.
I'm a motherfucking unicorn, but one of one. Divide being the love and light, then light and one. My karma isn't just stellar, I live by truth. Fighting evil, my scars are living proof. Protecting you from the storms with all my might. Love me, I will treat you right. You ever cross me, it's the last thing you'll ever do. With my crown of thorns, I'll wreck you. I ain't playing, yo, Bryan hard, call me a saint. Too bad Chris, because Bigfoot knows my name. I'm a messenger of God, with loyalty I serve, taking out all evil with his holy word. A true Knights Templar, sword in hand, slice you up, bury you in the sand. I'm a motherfucking unicorn, you'll never find anyone like me. Born in the Bronx, raised in NYC, so listen up, take heed. I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. A true Knights Templar, sword in hand, slice you up, bury you in the sand. I'm a motherfucking unicorn, you'll never find anyone like me. Born in the Bronx, raised in NYC, so listen up, take heed. I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Third Eye Live. I guess I picked the wrong day to stop sniffing glue, and I'm going to remove this. So let's see if we get to. There we are. Hi. I definitely picked the wrong day to stop sniffing glue. But with this guest, I couldn't be any better. I have to be the person that I have to be. She's wonderful. And we have a special co-host with us as well. So let me stop playing around and introduce Penny L.A. Shepard. And on bass, Sir Mark Hoare.
Yes. So there's a joke behind this one. Okay.
Yes.
So I met Mark when I first started working with Awake Nation, but it wasn't Awake Nation, then it was Dark Outpost. And I couldn't find guests. So I was going to Mark like every day. Mark, can you send me something? Mark, I had a guest just fall out. Mark.
Sudden cancellation.
And so, yeah, like now. When do you need him? Now.
Yeah, I need him right now.
I need him right now. and so he was watching the show this one day, and I started laughing really hard because I had to do this thing about this guy whose name was Mr. Hoare. And so I said, Mr. Hoare. I was laughing so hard. I'm like, Mr. Hoare. I go, wow, I would have changed that name. And then I was laughing so hard, I couldn't. I said, David, you're going to have to read this, right? You know, who would want to? I said, who would want to be Mrs. Hoare?
You're such a whore.
and that's where it started. So Mark made me laugh so hard. He wrote an email to somebody. He wrote, I don't know if you were introducing me, but he signed Mr. Hoare.
Sorry, Mr. Hoare. That's Mark.
It's a joke that keeps on giving.
Yes, it does. It never gets old.
I remember.
Is this episode 11? Seriously?
I think it. Yeah, if that's. Yeah, it is episode 11, which is interesting. So, yep, I want to welcome everybody to the show. Thank you guys for coming in. Mr. Nighthawk, I welcome you to the show, and it's good to see you. I hope you are feeling better and everything works out and it's good and it's great. But if it wasn't for the bottom square, you know what I want to do, Penny? I think this would be great. Let's see if we can get David to do it. We need 9 people to come on, and we're going to do Hollywood Squares.
Right. I actually have 9 people on my trauma triage team. I have 20 people on my trauma triage team.
You should do whatever something Hollywood Squares. And I'd like to go with the whore for the block, please.
Tell him to be like the Paul Lynn
yes,
character.
Yes.
It would totally be like
Whoopi Goldberg was on those shows.
You know, yeah.
Awful.
That's before who did I was
before she became the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah. My friend Cisco, I'm trying to, introduce Penny to, and vice versa, because she's, I'm going to say one of us in many ways. We're freedom-loving Americans that want to help people and believe in God.
A lot of those around.
Power. Yeah, no,
Cisco kid was a friend of mine.
So Cisco's really, really great, and she goes, this is before Whoopi died. God bless her soul.
Right.
I mean, that's what people did.
Before the lights went out in Georgia on Whoopi's arse.
100%. So I met Mark, or the whore, on the Three Beards, and Mark is the only one. We're on the Three Beards podcast, and Mark doesn't have a beard, so he sits there and he's one. He uses the bigger headphones. I have them as backups because I lost. I had to get a different XLR cable over there. So one day I just I posted a picture. I put Mark. Put Princess Leia headphones, hair over his ear, and he was just, this is right. So But Mark is a wonderful human being. He is a friend beyond belief. Love this guy. And I haven't even met him yet. I was hoping to meet him last year, but I lost my voice. Couldn't make it to the Bigfoot conference up in Western PA. It would have been great to just finally meet people.
Come on back.
Well,
I'd like to give
I'm
him
coming
a
back
hug.
for a little bit, but if it wasn't for Mark the whore, you know, I would never have met this
Mr.
wonderful
Whore?
lady, Mr.
Excuse
Whore.
me, it's Mr. Whore to you.
Yeah, it has to be in an English accent. Are you a whore?
It's Mr. Whore.
Can I have a whore, please?
It's a dignified
It's Harry Potter.
English last
Whore.
name.
Mr. Whore to you.
Yes. Nana says you don't need a beard. I don't think
You
he
don't
could
need a
grow if
beard.
his life depended upon it. I don't think he could grow a beard at this point. And
That's right.
this is so true. This is from
The
Oklahoma.
world needs more whores. It's true.
What
It's
the
true, Oklahoma
world
Nana.
needs now is whores, sweet whores. It's the only. Yes, we're going to be talking about this. By the way, tomorrow, if you haven't gotten enough of this, I'm just going to share it anyhow. Tomorrow, you can watch Penny and David on David Zublick's Awake Nation. She's there all day. What time does it start again? Is it like 5 o'clock in the morning?
What time does it start? Well, put it this way. I get up at 3 a.m. Sometimes I sleep until 3:30. The show is at 6 a.m. Eastern time to 10 a.m. And when we first started it, David had added another dimension to it. We were The Truth with a Shot of Espresso. Then he added your morning wake-up call, The Truth with a Shot of Espresso. I just didn't realize I was going to be the one waking people up in the morning and calling them and saying, get out of bed.
Yeah.
You're on in 5 minutes.
I have my alarm clock set. I'm ready to go. I thought maybe I get to sleep a little bit tomorrow morning, and then I forgot, like, oh crap, I'm going to be on Awake Nation.
No, you're actually kind of late. We do 2 hours of news, so we do 2 hours of breaking and in-depth news, and of course, what is now in the news right now is the JFK files.
Yeah, and the
and so much news.
I don't want to get banned just yet. When I'm going to go out in a blaze of glory if I have to get banned. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. Let's just say you want to check your car drivers, your Uber drivers from this point forward.
Did you see that there was I guess an irate customer at the CIA today?
Yeah, I saw that. I saw the law enforcement. It was a hostage situation, but I didn't really follow into it.
It was a swatting situation. There's different terminologies for swats. Okay, so you don't have to be a twat to be swatted. The twats are actually the swatters. The twatters.
You need that on a T-shirt. You don't have to be a twat to be
swatted or to be swat. But that's another thing that's been going on in our nation is we've had some egregious swatting across the nation with conservative Christian talk show hosts, and it is alleged that these perpetrators are supporters of a certain country.
Yes.
I don't want you to get kicked off either.
No, I don't. I know the country.
It's kind of like ukulele.
Yeah. Kind of.
Use for 10, please. Bryan.
Yeah. Use for 10.
I'll take use for 10.
Well, that same ukulele country sent a team of hit making people.
Mm-hmm. And we're not talking about top 40.
No, we're not talking about top 40. We're going so much in circles. But if you want real information, real news, this is a wonderful product. Mark introduced me to Penny. I was on the show. I was like, I want to talk politics. I mean, I did do stuff at the IMF, World Bank, UN, but I don't want to get, put in the
you do talk politics. We let everybody talk politics because everybody is political. I love it when people say, I'm not a political person. Well, if you're breathing, you're political.
Yes.
If you're on this planet, you are political. You have opinions, and we like to hear people's opinions, except for those that are far left.
Exactly. But watch the show. It's on Rumble, right? And then X has it going too. So if you go to X, you go to David Zublick's X channel, just search Awake Nation. It should be there. But on Rumble is a better platform. We're working to move broadcast to Rumble as well. It just doesn't have as many people right now following there.
Really?
So,
It doesn't?
yeah.
I won't
No, for
broadcast.
me, no.
You're brave. You're a brave man. I will not broadcast on YouTube. I won't do it.
I'm doing it, as trying to help people. If I ever wanted to do a more political thing, I'd say go to our Rumble channel,
Yes.
because I do not want. I'll get shut down. I mean, I've had this conversation with probably several people that know it in this room, and you. I know I have individuals listening in my conversations, tapping my phone, checking my text messages, and I mean, I don't know why
everyone does, don't they?
everybody does. Yeah,
When
everybody's
people
doing it.
call me and they say, "Hey, if I talk to you, am I going to get more targeted by the CIA?" And I say, "More targeted?" Okay.
I just tell people, mention my name, and you'll probably get a better seat at the FEMA camp.
That's true.
They get a window. And it's just like I'm just saying like it is, and telling people I have to breadcrumb now. And I got so much crap from some people, one of which has a security clearance, Navy guy. I'm not mentioning his name, and he gives me so much shit. Like, why are you breadcrumbing? How come you don't? I'm like, if I told, God forbid it happens, I do appreciate this president, but something was going to be a threat against the president. First of all, I know people I'd say, listen, this is what I'm getting. Go, please protect them. But the minute you put something out there, I'd have Secret Service up my ass, like worse than a tapeworm. And then,
well, the way they're swatting people, they're swatting the conservatives, people that love God, and that are against ukuleles.
Yeah, I mean, it's against ukuleles. I have
I'm not a cryptic person. I can't do that. I just can't.
I have ukulele in my family,
right?
and I also have Russian, and I will tell you from personal.
I will say
knowledge,
I am against accordions.
you are
Okay? It's a thing. All right.
Unless it's
I worked with
polka.
somebody that had an accordion. He was an orchestra leader. And then I showed up for this gig, and he turned his 18-piece orchestra into an oompa band. And he said the drummer called him, and the drummer said that he forgot his drums. So he was just going to use paint cans. And I said, no, tell
Just
him
need
to go
brushes,
home
buddy. You
and
just
get
need brushes.
his drums.
Right. Yeah. Just so you know, we didn't give a proper if you're hillbilly, if you're confused,
If you're confused, it's
we're
all right.
confused. We're talking vaguely about things, so I don't get pulled, or get in
So he doesn't leave the show and get swatted at home.
swatted. That would be fun, but
Yeah, not really. It's not
Mark
fun.
introduced you to Penny. Penny, I mean, it was like being reunited with someone who is like you've long lost, and you're like, oh my God, what a great person. Penny is a singer, a songwriter, a performer, producer, director. You added those. She's a host, co-host. She does a lot, and I'm just going to let her get into it. When I advertise this, Stranger Things, and in there the character 11.
This is your 11th episode.
And it's really, it is an 11th episode.
What's the age?
And what's interesting is I'm just going to share this screen because it makes it easier to present it instead of like, I'm going to share the screen. So this is 11 that we're talking about right here. The female character who has been through a military-based program. K Ultra. And
Okay,
you know,
I'm sorry, but every time I see that
ukulele.
picture, my
Yeah.
mother shaved my head, and that dress she's wearing, I had that
Really?
exact same dress. There was a picture of me at 3 with that same dress. I was like, "How
Exactly.
did they do that?"
It's pretty interesting. I'm not meaning to cover you up, Mark. I just have to put some of these in there.
Who Hill Oklahoma hillbilly? We can't see Mark.
Oh yeah,
That's
well, I'll
right.
take them down.
Penny's
Or-
a star. I don't.
no, I'll take it down. But I just
Yeah,
wanted to show
just
you
put
who
me on the
11 is.
bottom so you can see Mark because he's prettier.
Right. I got to make it a little bit bigger. I'm going to change the screen around. But I was watching Stranger Things when it came out with my oldest daughter. She said, Dad, can we watch it together? I said, sure. And we watched like an episode or two. And then I got a phone call one night that my father died. And it's kind of hard to watch it again. And she's like, how come we don't watch it anymore? And it's kind of hard to explain to somebody. It's not that I don't want to spend time with you or whatever, but it reminds me of a moment, you know. So, but
You should
it's
watch it
not
again.
yeah, I'm gonna well, I'll go ask her if she wants to, but it's not every day you meet the original Agent 11, and that is what Penny is. But I'm gonna let you give you like, you know, give a bio, and then like let's start with that, and then we'll segue into because there's something important that we're gonna
Well,
talk about too.
as you can see from behind me, I'm trying to hypnotize you. I'm trying to hypnotize you into watching my channel, Agent X11. I started writing Agent X11 after I was thrown in the crazy house because I found out that my former agent is my brother and his son was in the White House. That was pretty fast, right?
Yeah, that was
And
super
I was
fast.
asking questions as to why he looked like Joseph Mengele and why I look like Irene Schoenbein, who married Joseph Mengele, and why my murdered brother David looked like their son, Rolf. When I saw a picture of Rolf, I cried because I grew up with David and Rolf looked like David. So I
How about
started
that?
asking questions. Why do I look like Irene Schoenbein, who married Joseph Mengele? And for those of you who don't know who Joseph Mengele is, please get out your use your Google finger,
Yeah.
okay? Unless it's broken, and then use someone else's. But Joseph Mengele was Hitler's scientist, and he married a woman named Irene Schoenbein, and they had one son, and his name was Rolf. And I think Joseph Mengele's middle name is it might be Rudolph. I'm not
I
sure.
think so.
Maybe that's where the Rolf came from. And that's funny because I wrote a song called "Here at Rudy's" for a failed. Yeah, I know who would write a song like that, right? Brian's like, "You're at Rudy's. What the hell?" It was for a failed show that was supposed to be a comedy show with Phyllis Diller, and of course, that's when she was alive, not when she was dead. Because
Oh, okay.
they don't like bringing dead people back to do, sitcoms. But and I actually that's on the Copyright Office. My brother David wrote an unpublished book entitled The Whistleblower. It was about Bush, about my deep state family, and about various other whistleblowing things. He opened it up with the Vatican. When I left my husband in San Diego, who was a retired police officer and not a very good human being and a fake Christian, I went to my other brother that I grew up with. I went to his place in Illinois, which I call ill and annoyed. I don't think I would ever go back there again. If my
I'm
life
supposed to
depended on it.
go at the end of June
It
for
snowed at the
filming.
end of June.
No, I'm supposed to go to Illinois first time
Oh,
end of
God.
June for a filming for over a week for someone's doing, developing a product for paranormal based stuff.
Yeah, it's not going to be
So
fun. I'll tell you the hot spots to visit because I was locked up there for a year in a crazy house.
Oh, so should we visit there? You want me to get
Yeah.
you something from the
Visit
gift
there, and
shop?
as you go by, just do one of these with each hand.
I'll just get you a T-shirt. I
as you're
went to
driving.
blah
Yeah,
blah
get
blah.
me a
Thank you.
t-shirt.
And all I got
Go
was
in
a
and knock on the
fancy T-shirt.
door. But that's after I found out, that my former agent was my brother. And I found that out from I've been married twice. I found it out from my first husband. So here's where Stranger Things comes in. Because a lot of
Yes.
people like to say that character is them. But how I know it's me is, number one, I had that same dress and my hair was shaved like that. So that shocked me because I was like, oh my God, I had a picture with my family, with my two brothers and my sisters, and I'm wearing that dress. And later on, my mom shaved my head and I had very short hair. I hated it. The boys used to say, oh, here comes Penny the boy, right?
Oh,
And that's when the song was out, where it said, it was a song about if your hair, are you a girl or are you a boy? With your long, long hair, you look like a girl. You may be a boy. Hey, you look like a girl. I mean, it was like, are you a girl or are you a boy? With your long, long hair, you look
Yep.
like a girl. You may be a boy. Hey, you look like a girl, right?
yep. It's
So
terrible. I had long
they
hair way back
they
then.
made
and
me look like a little boy, and I hated it. I just wanted to be a little girl because I am a little girl. When I left my husband, my very first husband's name was Steve Zenos. He was my guitar player, and my partner. Zenos, for the audience, just Google it. It means stranger. I had a band named Stranger, and I was literally Mrs. Stranger. Okay, I was
Can-
Mrs. Stranger.
Are we starting to piece together the puzzle,
little bit.
everybody?
A little bit. So I mean, that was my name. And when I left my husband, I was going to write a book called The X Mrs. X, but it was actually about his mom, who I believe his dad murdered his mom. And that's one of the reasons why I got divorced, because I thought, you're going to take out an insurance policy on me and kill me. So I'm just going to leave now quietly, while I still have my
Right.
life. And I flew to Guam.
Because everybody goes to Guam. when
Everyone
they're
goes to Guam.
running away
Don't
from
they?
Guam?
Everybody goes to Guam. It was a
No,
one-way
seriously.
ticket.
Why would you like Guam is like
Because my brother
Oh.
that I grew up with, Rob, was stationed in Guam. But I think he's a spook, personally. That's
Okay.
just my
All right.
consensus, that he is an actual spook, and that's what he does. He's a spook. I think he's a spy.
I know a ton of people that fit that category.
I didn't know any of this. I also think he knows my other brother, that I didn't know that I had this brother, that when he was my agent, we had an affair. So when I tell my first ex-husband, I've been married twice, tell my first ex-husband, I'm related to John. And he says, how they have these little dots, like you're like, okay, what are you saying? And you're waiting, right? And then the dots go away, and then the dots come back, and then the dots go away. And I'm like, Steve, please, we were married. I just want to know the truth. So he calls me on the phone and he says, John's your brother. And first of all, I'm shocked, right? But I didn't even know he knew John, Bryan. Okay. I didn't even know he knew him. And he says, John's your brother. And I'm like, is this like a really bad soap opera? All I could do was just swear for like 10
you know
minutes.
what? In the defense of yourself, none of this was known. Okay.
No. Who would know? Who would know any of
Oklahoma
that?
Nana, you missed a ton of good stuff. By the
Yeah,
way,
I know. You're gonna have to go
Darth
back and watch
Vader,
it.
Luke's father. But
I
let's
am
say
your
Star Wars.
brother
I'm your-
and your agent
So
and your
in
sister.
Star Wars, we didn't know what was going on there.
No.
Neither did Luke or Leia, but she kissed him pretty heavy.
Leia, they gave her that name because she got laid a lot.
Yeah, I'm
got
sure
laid a
she
lot.
did. But they didn't know each other, and there they are swapping spit, and then you later find out, like, oh my god.
I know.
Is there something for the fourth to clear your mouth out? It's it's just craziness going on. But when your mother shaved your head, was she part of? Was this
Yes, I believe. Okay,
part of the
here's what I
program?
came to believe. So when I leave my husband, he tells me if you divorce me, you're going to be thrown in a crazy house, you'll be made homeless, and you'll get thrown in jail. And all those things happened to me.
Oh wow!
And
Christmas only
I
comes once
thought
a year.
so, but here's how I thought I could avoid all that bad stuff happening. I said, well, fine then. I just won't divorce you. I'm just leaving and never coming back. And I'm just going to wait for you to die because I know you're going to die like
Yeah.
soon because you're really sick. So,
And then
so
I'm gonna get everything.
I left
I get
and
alimony and the inheritance.
no, I got nothing. I got
don't-
nothing. I
No,
got
I know.
nothing. I left with 4 boxes of clothes, and those 4 boxes of clothes were taken from me. Yeah, it was bad. I did
But-
get to keep my car, which I paid for myself.
Well, that's
And
good.
it's not a new car. It's an old car, but it saved my life because I had to live in it for a
Right.
while.
Hey, you know what? You have to do what you have to do in life.
Well,
People don't
I'm a
understand that.
singer by trade, so that's why I had
Yes.
an agent. Hello. I had
Yeah.
an agent because I'm a singer and I traveled across the country. I sang for over 55 years. I sang everything from jazz. My first fiance was my handler, if you will, but also he was my manager. When I went back to see him after 40 years and spent 40 days and 40 nights in the desert of Arizona with a Satan, not the Satan. He's one of his friends.
Yeah. Buddy.
I hadn't seen him in 40 years. And he said, when I moved to Illinois, he said, hey, would you like to come out and be a snowbird? And I was like, what's that? And he said, well, you'll know as soon as it starts snowing. And then it did. And so I called him and I forgave him for all the bad stuff that he did.
Right.
I thought, oh, he's Christian. I was wrong. And he didn't change. And so I went to Lake Havasu, spent 40 days and 40 nights with a crazy person. But
Right.
it was a beautiful thing. I needed to do that because I found out a lot of things about myself that I would not have known. And I believe they knew that I was breaking MK Ultra. So after I left my husband, my second husband, they were both alive, okay? My first
Right.
husband and my second husband were both alive. And right before I got thrown in the crazy house, and Steve
Right.
told me that my former agent was my brother. It gets confusing. He died 3 weeks later of a heart
Oh.
attack. Yeah.
The former.
So Steve Zenos, my first husband, I've been married twice.
Right.
Steve Zenos, Mr. Stranger, after he told me that my agent was my biological brother, he died 3 weeks later. He died 11 days after I went back and talked to my drummer, Bob, and made some comments. I made some comments, like one was like, I'm not a psychopath, am I, Bob? And Bob said no. And I said, but John is, right? And he said, yes, he is. And I said,
So,
and John comes back, right? And he says, yes, he comes back.
so do you think he was eliminated for telling
I
you?
do. I
Okay.
do. I know that he did have some heart issues. However, I did not cause his heart attack. I was not in the state. I was in Providence, Utah, living in my truck at a truck stop and working in the days writing at the local Starbucks when he died. But he told me, and then I went back to see the drummer. I drove back from Chicago. I drove to Costa Mesa to see my drummer. That drummer knew my first fiance agent. So that means that Steve knew my first fiance agent, who I met in Florida. I met him when I was
Right.
still in high school, and I was singing in Miami. I'd been singing in school. I've been acting. I joined the Thespian Society, not to be confused with the Lesbian Society. Okay, I'm not gay. Just FYI.
Yeah.
Did not join the lesbian
It's just
society.
the whore down below us that's gay. No,
This
he's not gay,
whore
but he's
is
a whore.
probably a lesbian, I'm
Um,
sure.
So I just want to take a split second here. Mark's gonna have some questions, and Mark's gonna yodel by the end of the episode. But do you think all these people that you have met throughout your path up to this point, I left this guy, I went here, I was in high school with these people, they went over.
Oh, they all knew one another.
So are they part of this? Are they part of
Yes.
the program? And they're
Yes.
all individual handlers?
Yes.
If you can't talk about something, we're not going to talk about it, just so everybody knows, because
I can talk about anything.
So
I just
do
won't
you
name
think-
some names. I'll just use the first name.
right.
Not the
Do
last
you
name.
think you were being, I don't like the term groomed, because there's certain
Oh yes.
community
No, I believe I was born
Trained?
specifically. The questions I was asking, and I
Right.
asked strangers too, because I talk to everybody. Even when I was homeless, there's no excuse for not dressing good and passing out business cards.
Right.
And so I talked to everybody, and I asked somebody outside of one of the coffee shops, "Do I look like this lady?" And he's like, "Yeah, you look a lot like her." Well, that was Irene Schoenbein, who married Joseph Mengele. I asked strangers, so not getting, and even people that I knew, some of them, they looked at it and said, "Oh, I don't see the similarity." But when you live with somebody, you know what they
Right.
look like. You know what I'm saying? You
You
know
know
all
everything
aspects
about
of
them.
them.
Yeah.
You grew up with them. And my brother David looked like Rolf. And pictures of David disappeared. All my pictures disappeared. I had some pictures that I put on the internet that I still have. I had one picture that was given to me, one or two that was given to me by my aunt. And she was a fake aunt, but her last name was Menger.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Maybe that was that real mom,
I don't think so. But if you Google
real.
Menger,
right?
Mengele comes up.
Of course, that's the first thing that's going to come up. I was going to make a really bad joke, but I'm not going to do it. Well, I mean, like in school, when you ask the question, did you go, "Can I ask a question?" Sorry.
Well, I didn't even realize
joke.
how German I looked until later. Maybe that's why they cut my hair real short. So I thought, are they hiding me? Do they want me? I found out after I left my home at 17 and I moved in with my first manager. I found out that my mom was gay. So here's the question. If my mother was gay, why did she marry my father? And I have an answer.
Okay.
It was in the 50s, but I believed I had been told that she had been caught in an affair in her nursing school, and she got kicked out of nursing school. She didn't want her girlfriend to get kicked out, so she went to my father, who was her father's friend. He was 13 years older than her. And they ended up, the girlfriend and my mom, going to New York. Now, if you look up Liebersborn, the Hitler babies came through New York. Was my father's, that was the boy that was the oldest son, was he a Hitler baby? Because he didn't look like any of us. And he had wiry hair. Where did he actually come from? Because I wasn't there, right? So I don't know. I can't verify who he was.
Right.
He didn't look like any of us. And is it possible that Joseph Mengele created an alleged twin town, and there are people refuting it, not too far from Sao Paulo, Brazil?
It's a legitimate.
Is it possible that Joseph
town.
Mengele took Irene's eggs, her ovum, because they'd gotten divorced, implanted Martha, who was his brother's sister, and it was his brother's widow, I'm sorry, and when he marries her to keep the farm, but they get married like July 17, 1958, and I'm born August 11th, 1958. But I don't look like Martha. I look like Irene. And so see if you can find a picture of Irene. Irene Schoenbeing. And I've got on my blog, which is, I should send it to you. It's Shepard entertainment.blogspot.com. I've got an entire chapter that I wrote. It's called The Green Mind. And there was an individual who I narrated it over and little recorded segments on Instagram. And this guy was in Canada and he put together a video and said, I know that you are actually the real 11 in Stranger Things. So is it possible that Joseph Mengele implanted Martha with Irene's ovum and created a bunch of kids, and they gave that child to my mother? And was it, did my mom actually wear like a pregnancy halter the whole time that she was pregnant? Or did she have a baby that died and they traded me out? These are things I don't know.
So apparently I was muted during this, but just so people can get on the page here. This man's name is Joseph Mengele, the Angel of Death. He is responsible for the experimentations throughout the Third Reich. They experimented on all the prisoners. He did experiment. He lived for twins because he can
loved twins.
Do experiments on twins and to see if one feels the other. He's a sick.
Yes, he would kill one twin in front of the other to see if the living twin felt anything.
Now, if you watch Chasing Hitler, I think it was, they went to South America and Mengele was in South America. And this guy, this is so bad, but so
okay,
there's
Bryan,
a lot
I sent this to you on your phone.
Right.
It's called The Green Mind Video Script, Part 1. And I start out with taking screenshots, and explaining how I came to the conclusion that I came to. So it starts out by saying, my name is Penny L.A. Shepard. I am the real 11 depicted in Stranger Things. Hawkins' lab begins MK Ultra experiments in 1953. So my brother Rob was born in 1952. My mother is in North Carolina in nursing school. I think she went to Duke University in North Carolina. The Duffer brothers who wrote Stranger Things were born in Durham, North Carolina.
Really?
Yes. And I believe my mother, as a nurse, volunteered for MK Ultra. The character's name is Ives. So I say in my project I was given a number.
Link?
Yeah.
Can I share the link here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You can actually open it. You can open it and
I'm going to do that in a second. I just want to share it with the chat, and then I'm going to get rid of
it's chapter 30, Green Mind Script, Part 1. So I was born August 11th, 1958 into MK Ultra Project Genesis Subproject Eve. Eve is a cloning project. I was born into Joseph Mengele's family, and I was raised by my fake parents. When I was older, the Mengers came into my life. The Mengers are the Mengeles. In the project, I was in a number. I was referred to by my day of birth, which is 11, the middle initial L, so not as to reveal my identity. I was born in Hollywood, Florida, but raised in Ives Estates in Miami, Florida. The character 11's name is Jane Ives, as in Jane Doe from Ives. So Terry Ives signs up for MK Ultra in 1953. When my brother was born in 1952, I think they were a year off, right?
Right.
She signs up for MK Ultra. Does she go to New York to get a baby that's a Hitler baby? Because I believe my mom is a Hitler baby. And even my aunt said she's very secretive. I didn't know anything about her. My mother's name was Millie. The character is played by Millie Bobby Brown.
Right.
Brown in German is Braun. Eva Braun was Hitler's wife. My mother, I believe, was a Hitler engineer baby. So you can see... can you enlarge that picture a little bit?
This one right here?
Yeah. Can you make that bigger?
See, I'm gonna open a new tab and see if
No, it's
I
hard.
can do
But
that.
so
I'm
that's
gonna
me at the
share.
bottom.
Let
That's
me
me on
remove
the
this
right,
one, and I'm gonna share the other one.
in pink. But that's not the
Okay.
same dress. I had that exact dress when I was 3.
So, is this is the picture you're talking about, or no?
Yes. So that's me in the bottom, and with my hair. My hair grew out a little bit.
Yep.
Okay. And I'm wearing a pink dress. But it's not the same pink dress that she has on, because I know that one, because it has like this puckering thing on it with different colors running through it. I know it because my brother Rob took a picture of it and then put that in a collage with a picture from when I was playing at Disney. And I I'm not sure, John might have booked that. I don't know. So I say my mother was a Hitler and her baby. And then there's an unnamed child, which I got in an argument with this other girl because her face is all over this picture saying that it's her. I don't believe it is her. I say an unnamed child posted on the internet on the left, and me around 10 or 11, the pink dress on the right. That kind of looks like me a little bit. But here's
Yep.
the reality. It could be anybody.
Yeah.
And so I say, I'm not claiming that's me. I'm claiming that that child is all of us that underwent the MK Ultra projects. A lot of us look like that when we were growing up.
And just so people know, in reference to a lot of these programs that took place in the government, MK Ultra, and there's a whole bunch of them, Mockingbird, the whole thing. At the end of the war, Operation Paperclip, we took certain individuals from Nazi Germany, and that's why we have NASA, and we went to the moon. Germany was really close to winning this.
I
Even
think they
though,
did win it.
well, there is a
I
rumor
think they
about
destroyed Germany, and then they enlarged their territory when they sent not just 5,000 Nazi scientists and doctors over to the United States, but anybody who agreed with the premise of the Third Reich around the world. And there were millions of people that believed in it. And they wanted to see the uber super soldiers and have everlasting life through having,
and
cloned
they wanted
entities.
right. They wanted the Fourth Reich, and that's what we're talking about right now.
That is
Um,
correct.
it's really. I wish I could find. I didn't know we are going to go into this this type of history for it, but Mengele, a lot of the stuff he did, the experimentation, which is he got tagged in the Nuremberg trials, and you can't do what he did. But
Yeah, that's why he ran. But they were
right,
Hitler was actually funded by the Rothschilds. They were doing eugenics in the 20s.
yep, and
So, if people don't think that they're cloning, they've been cloning horses and dogs and cats for,
for
I don't know,
centuries,
30, 40
I think it
years,
goes back earlier.
yeah, decades. I mean,
for a very, very long time. So if you want to read this article, it just explains, the Dr. Owen, who actually looks like my husband, Steve, to tell you the truth. He's a character in there, and he gives Hopper a forged birth certificate for the adoption of 11. So I believe that they forged my birth certificate and gave me to my fake parents. But I was given to Van Hooser.
Van
So every
Hooser.
time I see Hopper, I say Hooper,
I
right?
gotcha. Okay, so
Because
just
Van Hooser was a police officer and a sheriff.
so one of
And
the
I
things that
married him. He was my second
really
husband.
okay. Oh man,
Okay, it just gets
talk about
better.
family trees, people.
It just gets better. So now scroll down a little bit and you'll see a picture
Sure.
of Irene Mengele and me.
1 second before we scroll down, what you're seeing now on the screen is a movie from 1978. It's fantastic. It's called The Boys from Brazil. And in it, it's about them going Nazi hunting in Brazil. But it's also about this experimentation by Mengele continuing. And
Yes.
when we mentioned, Penny mentioned the twin city, the twin town with all these twins. That's Mengele.
Yeah,
So
there
I'm gonna.
actually is a twin town, but the Boys in Brazil was about making genetic copies of 100 boys that they wanted to then groom socially and have
Yep.
the same parameters to engineer another Hitler. Okay, so
Right.
take the next picture with Irene and me and make that
Okay.
bigger.
And we're gonna have to open that in a new tab. And I will make it
And you
bigger.
can take a look at it and see, does that look like me?
Hold that thought. I don't have a production assistant.
You don't?
No, unfortunately, no.
It's just you.
It's just me.
And then there's another picture of me. This is
and Mark.
before or during when I met Darrell. Look at that face, how angry I am.
Yeah,
On the bottom. I'm
right
pissed.
there. The lower right.
I don't know what they did, but I found that picture in a yearbook which was online. And I was like, wow, you look pissed, Penny.
Well,
What did they
you know,
do to you? And I was in a car. And I was angry.
I mean, maybe they did something. Maybe you were, even though maybe you were through a system, and in some ways, I want to use the term brainwashing. I always
Yeah,
like the
they
upper
erased
finger.
me,
But maybe
right?
sometimes even the most brainwashed people or trained people know your subconscious knows the real deal, and they may have done something
Yes.
where you're like, get the hell away from me. I know who you are. Type of
Yes. And I think that most of my life, and I found out I have certain abilities. I don't always use them, but I have certain abilities. And I think we all have those abilities, to tell you the truth. But they get discredited. And people say, oh, you're just being dramatic, when in fact you're not. You actually have these abilities of
yeah.
things that you could do, things that you can see. If you touch a person's hand, you can tell who they are sometimes.
Yes, you can. They do a lot of tests. By the way, Mengele did a lot of these tests. A lot of the experimentation, which is unethical and violation of a ton of like natural laws. If it wasn't for that, a lot of the science we have now that we rely on, we never would have had. It's a really it's a weird sometimes out of a ton of bad, good shows up somehow. I'm not endorsing it at all. I know people whose family members were killed by Mengele, experiment on killed. I have relatives in Eastern Bloc that were killed, not necessarily by him. I'm not debating whether something took place or not and who started what. I don't care. The experimentation on human beings is continuing today in multiple countries, and here's where it gets crazy. We were talking about clones before, like Mark Eddy. We cloned him. That's not the real Mark Eddy. That's Mark Hoare. But the real Mark Eddy has a beard. No one knew that.
Right.
But the
I'm the
thing is,
estrogen filled
yeah.
one. That's how you tell the difference.
The thing is, and
It's
I'll
little
move
dots
this
under your
for a
eyes.
second. So what's taking place now genetically, and it's probably been taking place for decades, is the cloning of individuals that may or may not have the ability to feel, sense, taste, touch, and they're being experimented on.
I want to throw a couple more just quickie things in because I know we don't
Sure.
have a lot of time. But so I say in 1983, November 6th, November 4th was my second husband's birthday. We got married on November 7th. But
Right.
my first husband, I didn't realize I married my first husband in November. I married him on Thanksgiving. I married him November 22nd. And that was actually the day that JFK died, was shot. Okay. So, and I said, I will be thankful because it was in 83 or 84. I have to look
Right.
it up. But I remember saying I will always be thankful because I married you on Thanksgiving. So November 6, 1983, Demogorgon escapes from the lab and abducts Will Byers. And in 1983, I had twin boys, and they were taken from me against my will.
Wow.
And my uncle Norman, upon his death, that's my mother's brother, writes and says his father's name is William Myers, Will Myers. So the little boy in Stranger Things, his name
Yeah.
is Will Byers. Okay. My grandmother was Will Myers.
Do
And so it begins November 6, 1983. November 6, 1983, a Demogorgon escapes from the lab and abducts Will Byers. My grandfather's name was William Myers Darlington. Season 2 starts October 29th, 1984. May 1983, I'm pregnant with twin boys. I know they have dark hair and blue eyes because I see them. And Steve arranges this for fetuses to be taken in July and August 1983, xenotransplantation. February 15, 1984, the
right.
Duffer brother twins are born. The ones that wrote Stranger Things.
Right.
9 months later. And November 22nd, 1984, I marry Steve Zenos. That's just a little bit of some of the coincidences. Also, Johnny Depp, when I went to go look for pictures of myself, I found out Johnny Depp went to my junior high school and actually went to school with my cousin, elementary school with my cousin.
Really?
Yeah. And so who was Johnny Depp's girlfriend? Let me see. Was it Winona Ryder? Does
Are we
Winona Ryder play?
connecting the dots now?
Does Winona Ryder play Will's mother? And does Winona Ryder get possession of 11 later on?
I don't. I didn't follow the series, so
You
I
need
don't
to
know the
watch
full.
it, Brian. Go watch it
going-
with your daughter. It's
I'm gonna go.
okay.
I'm gonna
It's
go
all right.
watch it, and then I'm gonna have her watch this episode, because it will be painful for her to watch her dad for however long we're on, and but it would be very informative for her, especially
Yes,
if
you need to
you
watch
enjoyed it.
you need to watch the series and don't be afraid.
Right.
When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high.
It's just, I mean, talk about, most people have difficulty growing up, from the elementary years to the middle school years to whatever. That's difficult enough, especially for women. I'm going through this right now with all the women in this house.
But
Even
you
the
have
dog.
a house full of women.
Yeah, the dog's like, dude, we got to go now.
I know. It's just
Get
you
in the
and me,
car
buddy.
and go. Yeah, he's just like, what's wrong with you? Get in the car. Let's go. And I'm like,
Let's take a short walk on a long leash.
yes. So, but compound that with everything that's been going on, with your life, plus the MK Ultra, plus did you ever figure out, like, what was the goal of this? Was there a finish line?
The goal, I
No?
think, was to do genetic experiments, number one, and to carry them to fruition. Because the experiments, people think they come and they say, like, so if I break MK Ultra, is it over? No, it ain't over till it's over, meaning until you're dead, because you are an experiment. And I remember telling Bob that. I said, Bob, I'm just an experiment, aren't I? Bob didn't respond to that. And I thought that at the time. I also said, I was being very Scully. And I said, Bob, I don't believe in aliens. The only illegal alien here is Satan. Right? Just like Scully when she gets rescued from, in the movie, she gets rescued from the aliens. And by the way, Sam, my second husband, looked like David Duchovny. Shit you not.
Really?
Yes, I asked him when he showed me a picture of himself. He said, I do the modeling too. I was like, really? And then he shows me a picture of himself because he was a PI, private. He was a private dick. He was a dick in public too, but he was a private dick. And
Big
he
Richard
showed me
Coke.
a picture of him on a magazine with the, what do you call it, binoculars.
Right.
And I said, why do you look like David Duchovny?
Really?
So between the two of us, I look like Gillian Anderson, or I should say Gillian Anderson looked like me because she's like 9 years younger than me. And he looked like David Duchovny.
So, I mean, this gets into a really weird area because we know the Central Intelligence Agency had people within the entertainment field. Okay. They're here. MK Ultra is like, it's so higher up. But are there agents working multiple levels? And
yes, there are agents
and
working multiple levels. There are some people that don't even know that they're agents.
Right.
Of course, I said I am an agent. At the time, I did agent my own bands, okay? And then when I realized, I just said, when I was in the crazy house, I realized I was 11. So I said, I'm X11, right? Xenos.
Right.
Which means stranger. So I am X11. Not like I was the X11, like EX, but I am Agent X11. And they utilize the MK Ultras as covert assets. A covert asset is also termed an agent. However, I had people coming to me on LinkedIn asking me to look at their music. And I'm like, I'm not that kind of agent. And then later on, I realized, oh shit, maybe I am because I'm booking people, right? I'm a booking agent.
I'm booking
Nobody
you
makes
right
any money right now, but hold on.
And
Hold on. We're working on that. But
yeah.
So I am an agent, essentially. I am a booking agent. I'm your agent. I'm your executive producer too. Not for your show, but for,
Yeah, no, you are. She's actually you fared out well. I mean, it's tough and you're faring well. We all know that Mark is actually a handler for both of us. He's
yes,
a
he is.
handler.
He is.
He's and as Oklahoma
He's
Nana
handled
said,
me many times and made me laugh.
She said, damn it, blow to Mark, can't take whores anywhere. But because Mark is the one that introduces people to each other.
Yes, he does. He makes the connections. He's like a human LinkedIn.
Yes, he is a human. It's Mark Eddy Productions, and I can't thank him enough for the productions. This year we're hoping he's gonna produce.
He's linked me with a lot of people and never came back and said, look at all the people I sent to you. He's just
no, he doesn't do that. He's just he gives you some really, really great suggestions, and he pushes select individuals more than the other. No, only joking. But but like this is just so
and that's how we met. And I also I don't use the word coincidence anymore. I've taken that word out of my vocabulary. It serves no purpose in this universe. It's just like in the movie Signs when Mel Gibson says, well, you're either a person that believes in coincidences or a person that believes that there are no coincidences.
Yeah, there's
when
no
he's talking to him about miracles. Well, I don't believe there are any coincidences, and I do believe in God, and I do believe in Jesus. I've talked to him since I was 3, and he's guided my footsteps, not man. So I did want to say really quickly,
Yes.
I speak on the military industrial entertainment complex, and one of the prayers that I had was that I would have some people from the military industrial entertainment complex who were breaking MK Ultra that would come to me and they would help break down some of the bad things that are happening in Hollywood. One of those people I've had the pleasure of speaking with for about 3 years on and off now, and has gone into a very dark passage in her life right now. And I'm going to ask people to please help her out. I spoke with her today at length. Her name is Rachel Gordon. Rachel Gordon is the ex of Ace Freeling. I can never say his name right. I can't even spell it right. And he was a guitarist for Kiss.
Drunk too. But keep going.
and a lot of bad things about the band and about the people. And she has managed to escape, but she tried to sue for palimony. She did not win. She's literally living in the freaking desert in a broken RV. She needs money for food, and I helped her out with just a little bit to try and get her phone working. And she is willing to tell the things that she knows, but she needs to be able to eat. She needs to be housed. I'm working on trying to get her into a safe situation right now. And no one is going to know where she is, but
Right.
she'll be safe. And so she's got her phone right now, and she still needs money to eat and to survive and to get the H out of the desert, because my fear is that she will be murdered. And so I ask people, please pray for her. Her name is Rachel Gordon. You can find her on X also. But if you have any funds, $5, $1, any money that you can throw at her so she can make it for gas to get to where she needs to get to. Her PayPal is, did I send it to you?
Let me go check.
It's Rachel, RACHAEL. Gordon,
You can send it to me at this
GORDON.
point. If you
Did I
send
send
it
it to
to
you?
me, no, you did. I have nothing in text. Maybe use Messenger. Use Messenger.
Okay. Let me just send it. It's Rachel Gordon. I believe it's 575. Let me just make sure. That's her PayPal. You can also find her on X. She's just sort of following me.
Right.
And prayers. Prayer works. Just so that you know, I am a very big believer
Yes.
in prayer.
Let me tell you something about prayer. It works tremendously well. People. Okay, Nana, I think put that up. Is that the X one?
Okay, here's her. I'm looking for it.
Okay.
I have her up, but I don't have the actual. It's RACHAEL Gordon, GORDON. She's also on Facebook. And I believe it's 575, but let me just make sure. I'll look through hers. Okay.
I'm seeing.
So looking, I tried to see.
Once I get the information, I'm going to post it up here. If you want, you could type it. I don't know if you have access to. Aaron's Energy. Welcome. I can post it if you send it to me.
Okay, here it is. It's Rachel, RACHAEL Gordon, GORDON 575.
And
Again,
that is
that's
for what platform?
That's for PayPal. RACHAEL GORDON 575. Rachel Gordon. You can also find her on Facebook. She's got blonde hair. And
So in PayPal, I'll search for
Rachel Gordon 575.
one word, and RACHAEL
AEL.
GORDON 575, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So we're putting this into the chat for anybody that wants to lend her a hand.
And then if you can also put it when the show posts, if you can put it in. Rachel Gordon has she knows some horrifying things that have happened.
Yep.
She was with Ace for 11 years, Bryan. This is episode 11, and my name is Agent X11.
There are no coincidences. But
They
you
are
know what?
not.
Send it to me because this show's going to post, and then I'll go in and edit it and say to PayPal, whatever, send me a link. I'll do it, and she can get, I'll do my best to help out some way, shape, or form. I'm good because I do things like that, and
I sent it in the chat.
I put it in the chat right now. PayPal, search for Rachel Gordon 575.
Yeah.
Like Commissioner Gordon. So Rachel Gordon.
Yes.
And
Like
yeah,
Gordon.
I mean, when you've been used and manipulated and created and lied to and all this and threatened and
They've tried to kill her many times, and
right. I'm just
sometimes
saying,
we're unaware that they're trying to kill us.
right. I mean, but there's a camaraderie that builds up.
I was hungry. I was living in my truck.
Right.
I was thrown in a crazy house. For a year, I was kept.
Right.
And everyone there was like, "Why are you here?" One guy said, "I thought you were the administrator." It's like, no, not the administrator. And
I did not see that coming.
Yep. Penny, I have a question. With your connection to significant characters that had connections to major world events, just the other the experiments and all that stuff that were done on you. You've had guests on your show. Bryan's also spoken with them. What bearing, and that might not be the right word. How instead of being destroyed by such negativity, how did you become such a creative person coming out of all of those dark places?
Well, Rachel's a singer too. I'm a singer. I've been a singer since I was a child. I've been writing since I was a child. When I just said sometimes we don't know that they're trying to kill us, we don't. I mean, they may have tried and in many different ways to kill you, kill your heart, kill your soul, kill your mind. These things happen to me, but I think I have a very strong faith in Jesus Christ and God, and I believe that He's guided my footsteps and He guides my every steps. And sometimes He takes you out of situations that you don't even know if you stayed in that situation, you would be dead. Because He has a mission for you. And in order for you to find out what that mission is, you actually need to stay alive. So I think that's part of our missions. What keeps us going is helping other people. And I think that's a whole reason why we're here on this planet, is to help one another, to be kind to one another, to show love to one another, and to try and heal those that have not had those things shown to them. So regarding, how I've managed to stay positive, I mean, I went through a dark period when I found out everyone in my life knew one another, and I didn't trust anybody. And I'm starting to heal from that, but I'm still very cautious in trying to trust people. You don't know, put it this way, you don't know until you know who a person is, because I married these men and I did not know for 58 years that they all knew one another, and they're still lying about knowing one another.
And it's something very interesting. I've seen this done with kids because I have friends that are psychiatrists, psychologists. A lot of times I remember, to get out of a stressful situation or whatever, write your feelings down. Write them and then reread them. Write it down. Hum, sing, because it changes your mood.
Singing is amazing. And humor is
Yeah.
so important,
Humor
when
is a
we're getting
huge one.
beaten and starved and, raped and whatnot, you
Yeah.
have to come out of it without being a fragmented someone had asked me once to be on a program, and they said that they read my articles, but I didn't talk about multiple personality or dissociative identity disorder. And so that's not real MK Ultra. I said, I think you have a different concept of MK Ultra than I do. Mine is more broad based. Not everyone who's under MK Ultra is a super soldier assassin.
Right.
But everyone on this planet has been MK ultraed with some kind of propagandist. If you watch TV and listen to advertisements for big pharma, and then went into your doctor and asked him for that pill because you think that it could cure you, or that you listened to the propaganda of the leftist that said that Kamala Harris was a wonderful person, and that if she wasn't the president of the United States, you needed to shave your head and get sterilized because you shouldn't have any children in the Trump administration, that would be called MK Ultra.
Yeah. And there was I forgot who it was. He was on Joe Rogan, and he studies all this type of stuff, but he says when you know that when you're under a program like this, a psychological operation, there are many, many different signs of it, and gets sophisticated. But if they block you from getting any information on the other side of something, like they did with the ukulele versus the Russian war, and they blocked everything coming for Russia, every bit of it, then you're being pointed to a narrative,
Right.
and you're under a psychological operation.
And that's
so
what that's called a PSYOP.
right, it's a
Psychological
psyop, but
operation.
that's part of what they've learned through MK Ultra. Something I was watching a video not that long ago. It just popped up on my feed. Again, I don't think it's a coincidence because I'm getting a lot of fights, attacks, of me and, trying to stop my progression to break free and just be who I am. What happened to you? Oh, you're off color jokes or whatever it is. And they're trying to stifle you and get you to overthink. And I'm not letting people, no,
Yeah.
don't.
You need to be who you are. I try not to be critical of people because I wouldn't want people being critical of me.
Right.
And I think the most important thing that we can do is to try and focus on people's good attributes. And I'm not saying in a fake manner. I'm saying show them love and uplift them. We are to
Right.
uplift our brothers
Yeah.
and sisters.
And you're right. Aaron Penny is a born warrior. And I've always known deep in my heart I could never be corrupted.
There are people that we call incorruptibles.
Right.
And they do exist on this planet.
Yeah, they are. But I remember growing up when I grew up, and I'm not giving dates because I don't want to age myself.
That's hysterical, Oklahoma.
Yeah. Yeah. Tempers has rest legend. There you are.
I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use that on David.
You should do that.
Yes.
But during the 60s and 70s, and some of they still do it, they just changed it. I remember, whoever remember taking the hearing tests. You put on these weird headphones with like the metal.
Mm-hmm.
Raise your hand if
you can hear that tone.
Well, and then you would see certain programs that would show you on a computer or a slide or a film. And
were they really hearing tests?
They weren't. No, they were not. Actually, what they were doing is they were testing people for specific abilities for specific programs, and who can be MK Ultra easy, who can do this, who can do that. I've
Who will
been
be
to
compliant? And
right.
part of being compliant, I remember my brother David when we were growing up, he was always trying to teach me not to be gullible, because I was that compliant. And if somebody told me something, I'd say, "Really?"
Well, that's the difference in my two kids. One, it's go over the head. The other one's like looking at the other one like, "Psh, what are you, stupid?" you know,
Right?
and it's a really weird dynamic. But I know I mean, my mother was a special ed teacher, and she must have thought I was slow, or we used a different word back in the day. It started with a "re" in the beginning of it. I'm not going to say it. So all these politically correct jackasses will
I
jump
think I
on.
called myself on that on today when the Duggars were on,
Oh, the
and I
Duggars,
said, "I hope I said your name right." And they're like, "Oh, yes." And then when I'm reading it on the on their thing, I say, "The Duggars."
the
I'm
Dugars,
like, "Oh my god,
the Treblanicas.
I'm a turd."
Yeah, no, I know. So, um, it's just the Inkblot has a Rorschach test. Yeah. I remember taking all these things. So they took me to all the major universities within the New York City area, and to see, my mother thought, oh, he's slow, whatever. And they were all IQ tests, and they
Oh,
all said it. And I remember it because they have a photographic, audiographic memory. I remember situations, and the first one I got 179 was my score. By
how
the
old
time
were you?
what?
How old were you?
I was probably elementary school. Like,
Lordy. You
yeah,
know
like
what? One of my handlers told me that, and he showed it to me because he told me he knew John, and I was like, now you're gonna have to prove it because he said something that wasn't true. And he showed me his IQ. He said he was sent away from his mother for a couple of years, and then she got him back. His IQ was 60.
Ooh,
And I
60.
said, how are you talking to me and zipping up your pants at the same time?
Um, then maybe
That
they didn't
doesn't
touch.
change.
No, well, no, it actually IQs can it can develop. Some people you can't just go by specific tests because some people they found this out later on though. Some people aren't test takers. You
So you're saying
understand?
the testing was false for his 60 IQ?
No, I don't think they put them through the proper programs and didn't recognize the fact that some people are some
I
people
just wonder because
when
he joined the
Thank you, Nana.
military and he was in Heidelberg. And I'm wondering, did they enhance him
You can enhance it. There are
through some
enhancing
kind of a neural implant?
um more like pharmaceuticals.
Hmm.
They have them, and they have the neural implants too. Don't get me
Yes,
wrong.
I was wondering because he was in Heidelberg
Well,
in some
um,
top secret facilities.
but what was interesting, someone was talking about this whole MK Ultra and where these programs started, and this, trying to get these people. And I remember they showed footage of stuff that they would do in public schools and back in the day. And like, do you remember this? Do you see this image? Do you remember it? And I'm like, holy crap, I remember that. And then you get taken out to a different room, and then you spend more time with them. The problem is when you have someone that's in the system of the school and is kind of watching, it's harder to pull that special person out and put them in X, Y, and Z. So I may not have been tagged, or they probably realized, like they said, Bryan will do what he wants when he wants.
Right.
And I was going to be too difficult of a challenge. Like, no, we need someone that's a little bit more moldable.
I
You
was
know,
in a chat on X one time and they were asking me about myself. And I said, well, in third grade, I was reading on 11th grade level and everyone shut up. And I was like, hello,
yeah,
hello, is anyone here? I was like, is that wrong? Doesn't everybody do that? And they're like, no, that's weird.
I remember the last one was at Columbia University, and Just so you know, there's a certain president that shut down all the funding to Columbia University. Do you know how much money they lost?
Oh yeah. I don't know who that would be.
Over $5 billion.
That's a lot of money.
Why does a university need $5 billion?
I
It's a
don't know.
lot of money.
That is a
Because
lot of money.
99% of military industrial complex is brought in through universities.
And groomed.
And you can filter the money through a yeah. When you're talking, all the people playing with lasers, if you ever saw that Real Genius movie, that's not a joke. When they're developing high-powered weaponry and mirrors and whatever, they go through the universities, because not only does it get created, but now they have people that would like, oh, you worked on that laser, we're going to pay you $300,000, come work for the government. And scientists are really weird. As long as they get to play with the toys, they pretty much would sell their soul.
Well, people don't really realize that MK Ultra wasn't just in schools. It was in in elementary schools. It was in universities. It was in research centers.
Yep.
It was in hospitals. It was in prisons. MK Often, I believe, was one of the prison programs, and prisons are still used for MK Ultra experiments.
100%.
It's a captive audience.
Yeah, and they can't do anything about it.
Nope.
Some of the I use the I forgot the gateway tapes. And if you want to learn, if they're available on YouTube, I'm just going to tell you it that way. It's great for third eye, opening your mind, and it's absolutely fantastic. And by the time you're 3/4 away in the first disc of it, the stuff you'll be able to do will blow your mind. Like literally blow your mind.
Yeah, I think the creativity, if you are a creative individual, the creativity should actually make you happy. And if you're using it to make other people happy, as well, and to lift other people, I think, again, I believe that's our mission in life. Our mission in life is to help one another. If you've fallen down that hole and you've been in that hole, you know what that hole is all about.
Yeah.
And you want to make sure that your friends don't get trapped in that hole. And they can come up, and then they can, from a broken person, they can be made whole. And then they will help other people.
It's it's crazy. I'm trying to. I wanted to post this because Mark looks like. Please help Mark. We're just $1 a day. Mark can get some food. He's just sitting there in the ether right now.
No, I'm just I want to listen and learn.
He's watching us.
I know.
We're gonna get next week.
He's taking notes.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're talking about everybody.
Yeah, and I I appreciate you inviting me to be part of the show. Now several organizations now are going to be tracking me, so I'm really appreciative of that.
Yeah, we know that we're being watched, and I mean that's the purpose of a show, right? To be watched.
To quote Bruce Willis in Die Hard, "Welcome to the party, pal."
Right.
Yeah, welcome
I
to
love
the
Bruce Willis
party, because
I'm so sorry to see him with his frontal to temporal dementia, and I wonder how that happened too. Bruce Willis was born in Germany. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yes, he was born in Germany, and his parents moved to, I think his first residence was New Jersey.
He's I think Hoboken.
And I think he was groomed for what he was doing. And I remember him being on a talk show many years before, and all of a sudden he says something like about making a sandwich, and then he looks at the camera and says, "I don't know why I said that," and everyone's laughing, but that was the beginning.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. Al Roker did it recently. He has the I just crap my pants stare. There's a lot of people. Wendy Williams did that. She kind of, and now she's locked up in.
I don't think Wendy Williams has dementia
No, she doesn't.
at all. And
But
I think she was misdiagnosed, and she may have some other maladies, but
she has a
dementia is
handler,
not
and
one
she
of them.
wasn't. Yeah, she started to break off from what they wanted, and they reeled her in, and they canceled her.
She knew all
Another,
about Diddy, and she was canceled early on by Diddy because she made a comment about the rap industry being homosexual.
well, we knew that in the 80s when it started.
Mhm.
But another person, I love Jim Brewer.
I do too.
Jim is great and he's enlightened. Go watch some Jim Brewer, please. I beg you. But he was really, really good friends with Dave Chappelle. Dave
Was
Chappelle
he?
was,
Jim Brewer
yeah,
was?
Brewer was. They were really tight. They did, I forgot the name of the movie. It was freaking hysterical. Chappelle was huge, and Chappelle took off. They offered him money, and he took off. And the basic premise is he got talked to. And when they
I think
tell
he
you,
knows who Oprah is. He knows now. He knows who everyone is.
yeah,
And Jim Brewer, very good friends with Roseanne Barr, and
yep,
Tom Althouse, who is on our show, is working with Roseanne. I
right.
love
And then
Roseanne. I think she's
Aaron,
amazing.
yeah, Aaron brings something else up, and this is a lot of talk. We were talking about it before. They clone people. You
Yes, they
think
do.
this is crazy? They clone people. And I heard a story. I'd love to find the
We
podcast.
actually, Bryan, have on our show Panos Zavos. If people don't know who he is, they need to research him. He did a movie called Cloning the Dead. He clones for
Yep.
real. He was just on our show saying that they had a cloning breakthrough.
Yeah. And what they do is they put you in a
He's very
situation.
ethical, though.
Right. Well, they put you in a situation, you sell your soul, whatever the heck it is, because there's a bunch of satanic stuff going on too. And I'm not going to get into that now. But if you don't listen, they replace you with your clone. And there was another
And here's
guy.
the thing: if you were a clone, would you know you were a clone?
You wouldn't know you were a clone because it's literally an exact replica. All you know is from that point up to a certain point, and you go.
They would
There
have
are-
to actually download your consciousness in there. Panos Zavos is a very grounded individual. He started an andrology over 40 years ago, which is the male reproduction system. Like females have a gynecologist and males don't really have anything like that.
Yeah,
He's
no.
the father of andrology. So he tried to help men who could not produce sperm for reproductive purposes. And he talked about doing the cloning. And he went to Congress and he went overseas. I think he was in Italy. And he just really got lambasted.
Right.
And this was around the time that Clonade was active. Clonade's still in Vegas, in Canada. But their premise was the Ray aliens or Ray aliens,
Oh, I know
right?
those.
The aliens of Raw.
Yeah.
But they had some very bad, I think they were abusing children, etc. And I think it was an actual clone. So he doesn't want to be affiliated with them whatsoever because they're nothing. He is a man of integrity. I honestly believe that. I've known him now. He's been on our show for almost a year, and he's
Right.
a good man. And so he's been talking about cloning for reproductive purposes for a man and a woman. If the woman can't even create an ovum, they can't do the IVF. They'd have to have somebody else's sperm and somebody else's ovum in order to make a child. So he has it so that you can clone the individual and they can have a child. And so he's the expert on all of it. But when I asked him if other people were cloning, he said not to his knowledge. But we know that for every good person, there are bad people,
Yeah.
and they have this technology too. So, do I believe that illegal cloning is being made? Yeah, I do.
I can tell you it is. The government within the government, whatever you want to call it, has been
Deep
reverse
state.
engineering technology on a UFO basis, extraterrestrial. Part of and they pilot around in these ships and they abduct people as well because they
Yes,
are
known.
looking for a bunch of
Answers
different
yes.
things. Right. But one of the things that they do is they actually have gray aliens, the smaller grays, which are no more than 4 feet tall, that they're worker bees and they're all cloned. So it's an extraterrestrial biological
Yeah, just
entity.
like in Stargate
Exactly.
when they said that the only way that they could when Thor said the only way they could reproduce was through cloning. When the
Exactly.
body got worn
And
out, they just cloned a new one and they uploaded their consciousness and put it in that clone. That'd be the only way that entity would have your memories is if your consciousness was uploaded and downloaded into that clone. Then
that
it could
happened.
have your
Right.
memories and it wouldn't know it was a copy. Does a
And that,
copy of a
right.
copy know it's a copy? Like in Multiplicity, when they make the first clone, he's a total construction guy. The second guy works on the house. Well, they got together and made a third clone who, when the original guy comes in and sees him shaving his tongue, he says, "Who the hell is that?" And they say, "Oh, that's Steve. We made Steve." And he's like, "What's wrong with them?"
Yeah, it's
And they said, "Well, when you make a copy of a copy of a
you lose a
copy, sometimes
generation.
it's not as clear."
So what happens is when they make a copy of you, it's off by a fraction. And every copy thereafter is off by a fraction. They have to actually make the copy from the master. So if you're the master and they continue to make master copies, 1, 2, 3, it'll be updated to a certain point, right? They don't do that. They download you. This is what happens at every night. God does this too. When you
Yes.
go to sleep and you're lying there and you think you're sleeping, your information, your consciousness is being uploaded. They're reviewing it. They download new stuff to you, things to work on, whatever, and that's in your subconscious, and you go about your life. Same principle, but they've been able to do it on a cloning level, recreating flesh and the whole thing. It is beyond scary
Yeah.
because
The other
yeah,
thing that's really scary is the robots,
yeah, I don't
because they're doing that with the robots. So you don't even need to have you can call it a synthetic, right?
right.
And the robots are looking real human. They have, women that look like women and men that look like men. They're not like Sophia anymore. And Sophia is pretty good, but
Right.
they've refined it to the point where what's scary is there's a robot for everybody, including pedophiles.
Yeah, there is.
Yes, I know.
And they
It's
use
frightening.
them in multiple ways to do their bidding and cause
I
the
mean, Elon
psychological
Musk is
pain.
making these robots that, it's iRobot is here, man.
Oh, it's more than here.
That that sounds like some questions for Arlen's upcoming appearances.
What? Well, that it's very Twilight Zone-ish. If you think about it,
Yes.
everything taking place right now is extremely Twilight Zone-ish. It depends, what your favorite episode. We're having Arlen on, I think, at the end of this month, and I know he has certain things he likes about. Everybody has their own taste, but it doesn't mean that you're right. I'm just gonna leave it at that on certain things. Um, but it was something when you mentioned Bruce Willis, who I always liked Bruce Willis.
I did too.
Um, I remember
I always thought he was just a kind man. I didn't see any
he was
malice in him. You could tell by the characters that he played who he really is. Many times an actor or an actress will play a character and you assign the attributes of the noble character to the actor, in
right.
which that actor is nothing like that noble character.
You
But
know that, yeah.
Bruce played always a very I think he played himself.
You know the saying, "Oh, she's an all-American girl." There's a certain quality that you look for. He was kind of like the all-American boy. He's
funny,
he's
a
blue collar,
comedian,
but
and
he
he
could be.
also
Yeah,
did you know he's a musician?
yeah. He, actually, I know the album very well. It was really really well done. But my connection to that was my other half works in a day camp for years, and one of their friends, a really nice guy, his son was an actor, and he was off Broadway in this 2-person play. It was his son and this woman. It was like a son and daughter, a son and mother thing. And it was, in 3 acts, whatever. It was actually very interesting off Broadway. So we went to see it to support this guy's child. And we're walking underneath New York City to get, out of it. And the actress that walks by plays the mother. I forgot her name. And we're like, oh, you were, he's like, oh, this is the actress. She was great. You were great. This was fantastic. We're like, oh, cool. So she starts walking away. And as she makes the turn, probably about 40 yards away from me under these little tunnels of New York City, the guy goes, the girl in the hole in Silence of the Lamb? You mean like she puts the lotion in the bed?
Yes.
That's her. And I'm like,
oh my God.
You tell me this now? I could have done 40 minutes with her, right? So it was just weird. So I parked my car. We go up to, there's some place on 44th. I know this is crazy if you've never been there, but I go up. We're going to get our car. And while we're there, I see Danny Aiello and his wife.
Oh my God.
I like Danny Aiello.
I like him too.
His wife looked like his grandmother, but and we kind of met. I'm like, oh my God, it's Danny Aiello. My wife's like, who? I'm like, I'm watching him later. So one of my favorite movies is Hudson Hawk.
Oh God, I love that movie too.
It's a great movie. You gotta go watch it. If you want to watch a great movie, watch Hudson Hawk. And we get up to the window and I said, after you, Mr. Aiello, by the way, I'm going to be watching you in about 15 minutes in Hudson Hawk. And he goes, thank you. Like he does his hello. And I'm not really big on autographs. If I met Paul McCartney, that would be a different story, but that may not be real Paul McCartney anyhow.
True.
Just like
Paul is dead.
Mark Hoare may not be the real Mark Hoare.
Paul is dead.
Yes. So that was my little 2 cents on, Oklahoma and lighten down, slow down with the gummies.
Slow down with the gummy girl.
Yeah. Slow down with the gummies.
I do have to get up at 3 a.m.
Yes, I'm gonna let Penny go. Tomorrow, we're gonna present one more time. Nope, we're not gonna do it because I just got rid of it. We are going to be, again, you can find Penny and myself tomorrow
on Awake Nation, and that is on the David Zublick channel. We are live 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern time, meaning that I get up at 3. So that's we're
going to let 10, her go
11, 12, 1, 2, 3. Oh, another 5-hour day.
I will see you very soon, actually.
Yes, you will see me very soon. Yes, I'll be texting you at 4 a.m.
Got it. I'll be up and I'll just like, oh, crap, I'm doing the show and I have to chat,
just I do this thing where I don't really want to feel guilty about it, but I do this thing where I notify everybody, you're on in an hour, you're on in half an hour, you're on in 15 minutes.
You're on
at 5. If you're not in by 5, I'm like calling you on the phone going, where are you?
I'm like, I know, Ma, I'm coming.
I'm like the Jewish mama behind the scenes. I'm a, backstage mama.
But that's when I get the calls.
Yes,
right.
Mark gets the call. And then you also
was supposed to be here 5 minutes ago. Do you have someone that could?
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Oh,
that's what I'm like. Mark, they're not coming.
Yeah, there's a lot of people like I've done that. I was like, can you stay for the next half an hour? I'm like, yeah, no problem. If I can do it, I can do it without a problem. But Penny also does Agent X on X11
Yes. So I
on Rumble.
have 2 on Fridays. I do a regular. So every day I do Awake Nation. So I get up around 3 and then we get done at 10. And then between 10 and 11:30, I grab something to eat and then I work on the promo for the next day. I start working on collecting some of the news, and then 11:30 I start preparing for my 12. Now on Mondays I do the trauma triage team at 12. We pre-record the trauma triage team, and after that we record an Agent X11 from 1 to 2, and then I start working on the next day's show because we do 2 hours of news. Then on Tuesday through Thursday, we do Awake Nation, and then I do an Agent X11, and I post one every day. But on Friday, we do our Awake Nation from 6 a.m. to 10, and then from 12 to 1:30, I record an Agent X11, and then from 1:30 to 3, I record a true crime, and then from 7:30 to 9, I record an evening edition of True Crime, and on Saturday, I start working on promo all over again.
I think you need a clone. We talked about this, but
I would like to have one, but you have to feed it, so.
you know what? It's
And I eat a lot.
I'm not going to get into feeding it. Go find your own meal. So whatever. But we're going to let you go. I'll end it right now for everybody. Please, scrolling across this is Penny's website, Rumble, Agent X.
Yes, please sign
11.
up for Agent X11.
Please.
You'll enjoy it. It's free. And
Yes.
also David said if you subscribe to David Zublick is doing a Numi prize thingy.
Oh,
So if you subscribe to Agent X11 or to the Awake Nation, you stand to get a super bundle of information like Epstein's list.
yep.
Which was already out there unredacted. So what the age? And and also be in a raffle for a free Numi, which that's expensive stuff, and it's really good.
Yeah.
Glutathione.
And they have products on a Awake Nation that are out of this control. They're really, really good for you. I'm pretty big on supplements. I did a blood test. They want me to cut back on vitamin D right now, but thankfully I'm not pregnant. So,
Right.
Which is good, but I will see you.
I'm not either.
Yeah,
I'm
I will.
66.
I
That
will
would be
see.
really bad.
I'm gonna
Plus,
see.
I'm single, so
Yeah,
I haven't
you know
even
what?
had a coffee date in like 6 years. So
That's when Joseph came in. Like, oh, really?
right.
It just happened. Yeah.
Like,
I'm not gonna
who
get
did you
involved.
have coffee with? Okay, Mary.
Where'd you
wanna
go out
know.
in the field, Mary?
Right.
Yeah, that's like, and Mary came home the next day and like,
Immaculate conception. My what?
where'd you get the apple pie? Oh, I just made it. Yeah, how does it sound, Mary? In all seriousness, everybody have a blessed day. I do this. This is my song coming on the out, but I thank you, Penny Ellie Shepard.
I thank you.
Mark the whore. And
Yes,
we will
Mark
be
the
seeing
whore.
more of Mark because we have a couple of guests coming up. Mark is going to be the buffer zone, so I don't get whatever.
I love you, Mark Eddie.
Yep. And
Love you
I want
guys,
to thank
too.
everybody in the chat. Bart, Jim, Oklahoma Nan, I love you. Aaron, thank you for coming in. John, Straw Dog, everybody that's been there with us.
Hey,
And
also,
Joan,
if any of you think that you might want to be on the Awake Nation or Agent X11, you got
yes.
a good story, or somebody that you think might be really great on our shows. If you're not watching them, please watch them. So then that way you can say, oh yeah, this person would be great on your show. Text my phone. And here's the thing. If you just text my phone and say hello, I'm going to block you. Okay. I'm just going to be honest. Be honest. If you just say hello, I'm like, seriously, because did I not tell you? Did I not tell you?
Yeah.
Please text your first name and your last name and why you think it would be a really good guest. Or if you want to do the anonymous thing and not give me your name, but give me anonymous information, it better be good. That's all I have to say. So if you'd like to text me, my phone number is 619 619-779-9771. That's 619-779-9771. You can also email me, which I don't get it as quickly, at penny@darkoutpost.com or penny@theawakenation.com. Any information. And, like I say, if you have a friend that's like kind of quirky and you're like, hey, he'd be great on Agent X11. Agent X11 was established because it's Agent X11, a Hollywood dark journalist. And so I'm going to put a plug in once again for Rachel Gordon, because she is one of the people that is coming out of Hollywood and is disclosing. We need to keep her alive.
Yes.
So please, she's literally living in a desert where there are coyotes, and then there are also human coyotes.
Yes.
And
There's-
I don't
there's
want
a
her
few-
to end
few
up
coyotes.
in the desert somewhere. So I'm
and-
going to ask you, please, contribute to her PayPal. It's RACHAEL Gordon, GORDON 575 at PayPal. Let's keep her alive and let's keep her safe. Thank you.
Definitely.
Very much.
We're going to do that. Check the chat. It's always part of the show. You can reach Mark. His number is usually found on the restroom of the Golden Corral. And no, I'm only joking. Mark, you'll see Mark. Mark is everywhere, and Mark is an intricate part of the.
He's omnipotent.
Omnipotent. But again, thank you, Penny. We have we go out this way all the time. It's something I wrote. It's called You. It's 2 minutes and 44 seconds. But if it wasn't for all of you, we wouldn't be able to do this. And I want to thank everybody for coming in tonight. So I'm going to say goodbye on behalf of everybody. And we're going to end this stream and
Shepard out.
Shepard out.
You, it's always been you. God showed me you. I have been searching decades for you. I found you, I lost you. My heart is broken without you. My soul aches for you. I need you, I want you. My days are filled with you. I've seen the future with you. My home is with you. I have felt the future with you. My nights are filled with you. Love is you. True love is you. My happiness is you. Every past life is with you. My dreams are filled with you. Life is meaningless without you. My future is with you. I will fight for you. I will defend you. I will give up my life for you. Whatever it takes for you. Nothing else matters but you. I love you. I love you. I love you. God showed me you. I have been searching decades for you. I found you, I lost you. My heart is broken without you. My soul aches for you. I need you, I want you. My days are filled with you. I have seen the future with you. My home is with you. I have felt the future with you. My nights are filled with you. Love is you, true love is you. Love is you, true love is you. My happiness is you. Every past life is with you. My dreams are filled with you. Life is meaningless without you. My future is with you. I will fight for you. I will defend you. I will give up my life for you. Whatever it takes for you. Nothing else matters but you. I love you. I love you. Life is meaningless without you. My future is with you.